So next up, I need these creepy eyes. In addition, it looks like there's a tiny bit of a eyelash going on there as well. Let's just bring in a sphere and fit it into that area. So I'm going to scroll slow. So I'm going to scale this down ever so slightly, bring it on in, bring it on out as well, frame up to that object, and then take a look at my source material. So I will probably want this up a bit, maybe out a bit. And, it looks like there are some, yeah, there's eyelashes of some sort. But when I do this, I want to make this easy on myself. So I'm going to rotate this thing a negative 90 degrees really quick. So I have that center point coming straight out at me. And I want these eyelashes to kind of come along one of these ridges. So let's go ahead and just grab, let's see. Maybe that's too close. So let's grab all the elements out from there and do an extrusion. And this is going to be, you know, the eyelid itself. You know what? Let's come at it from the side and just grab everything and then remove what I'm not particularly interested in. Yeah, let's do it. Right click, extrude these faces. Let's go ahead and pull them out ever so slightly so we get that nice eyelash effect. And that, of course, will be black. F8 to move this on in and just actually push it back into this object right there. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine. And there is, of course, the inner eye itself. And if I am going to 3D print this thing, I should probably deal with that. But anyway, let's duplicate this object and mirror it across the x-axis. So it should pop in the right place right there. So there's both bits right there. And, of course, we need that candle going on the top. But more importantly, I actually think I made a little bit of a mistake here. I probably need to pull these vertices down a wee bit. So let's go over into my symmetry settings, turn symmetry on. I want to do it in the X direction. And let's turn soft select back on as well. And I'm just going to kind of see if I can't fudge this back into the right place. Close, getting there, but these ones back here are way off now if you take a look at them. I mean, this whole thing should probably curve around the eyes themselves. So let's just, I'm going to use camera space to just sort of, let's go to 2 mode, because ultimately I'm going to end up using this mode to probably smooth everything out. Even though I have a lot of vertices already for this cupcake is important. So I'm just trying to tweak these just a little bit. Let's turn soft selection off, grab these 2 over here again, and just try to get these to play nice. That's a little bit better. I'm liking that a little bit better. Oh, these 2 right here. So this one at the top and this one at the bottom need to be tweaked ever so slightly. And still, I feel like there might be a tiny bit too much going on. The eyes themselves should not be pushing outside. So let's come over here, turn off X-ray mode. Hey, you know what? Maybe it is okay. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. So let's go back in here. I'm going to hit the 3 key on this, and obviously that's completely wrong. Let's go back to 1. Let's use an insert edge loop tool, and whoop, that's not what I want. Relative, let's put one down way close to the bottom, and of course one way close to that top, so that when I do hit the 2 key, I get something that looks a little bit more like a cupcake. It seems like these elements are pushed in even further, so I should probably just go ahead and do that. What do I have? Something selected improperly. Let's start again. Right click edge. Let's turn off the symmetry mode. That's good. Okay, and let's start grabbing the elements that we need. This one, 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 this one. Okay, there we are. And let's just use this element to scale them in ever so slightly. And actually what I want to do now is probably shift select all the opposite elements. I kind of want to bring them out a little bit. Maybe not quite that much. That's starting to interfere. There we go. Now the last thing we're going to need is that candle on the top of this guy. So the candle should be pretty easy. Let's just create a new cylinder. Scale it on down, scale it on up, put it up in the sky. And somewhere along that. Yeah, why not? D down V. Put this one. Let's change the number of. Let's 12. I am going to print this thing though, so let's keep it high res for the print. I can always change it later on when I'm dealing with the actual game. let's take this object, push it right into the top of this thing, and we have a fake flame at the top as well. So let's do that. Oh, does this thing have eyelashes? Right here. See, on this side I don't see it as much, but on this side it almost seems like there's a slight eyelash coming off this thing, but I really can't see it. But you know what, if I am 3D printing this thing, you know what's something I'm probably going to want? Is I'm going to want something telling me that there's a iris. So let's just, if we do something like this really quick. I just want something that tells me that yes, there are eyes there. I know this is wrong. I should probably be grabbing the innermost area, this one right here, and unselecting anything in the back, of course, and doing an extrusion inwards right there, something more like this. And even then, I should probably be scaling this in ever so slightly like that. And then I should probably, once again, let's grow this selection. Let's do a grow and another grow. And this itself should probably be extruded as well. And I should probably push that in on top of it and make it look a little bit more like that. I'm going to just make sure I didn't screw anything up. Delete, and good, there is a missing face there. Okay, so there we are. There we have it. That's my eye on that side. We're going to go ahead and nuke that one, duplicate this one again, and we'll, of course, give it that flip to the other side. Let's make that candle flame on the top. Candle flame sphere, I guess, with just pulling some elements upwards. So let's do that really quick. Let's move the sphere on up to the top. Let's get rid of that cube really fast. Push this up to here. Scale it on down and scale it up a little bit. No. D, move it to the bottom first. And now scale it on up. Move this there. Let's grab, can I use one of the deformers for this? Let's see, can I go to modeling, animation, deform, nonlinear, and let's do a flare. And on the top of the flare, I want to push this thing inwards. So let's see here. So the bottom, yes, I do want it to be wider on the bottom. No, not that. Let's do 111, but the end flare is like 0.1 and 0.1. Very low. Oh, there we go. That's pretty darn good. Delete by type, history, get rid of that flare. You know, sit it right there on the top. Really, if I'm printing this thing, I should also probably grab these edges of the candle and do a nice bevel on this thing. Let's do segments. Let's do 4 segments. But I want my fraction to be 4 is a little bit overkill. Let's do a fraction of 0.25 instead. There we go. And I am going to want to stretch this thing out a bit. And I am going to want to take the top element here, like this one right there, and let's do a soft selection on this and push this over to the side. Like, there we go. We've got our little cupcake guy. Although that candle now, in retrospect, looks a little bit thin, so let's thicken that up. There we are. Okay, perfect. So let's save this on out. Save this actually as the second iteration. That's always a good idea. Let's click on this object right here. Actually, save scene as, I'm going to call this underscore print because I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to click this object, go to modeling, mesh, and I'm going to smooth this again. Yes, again, hit apply. It's a little bit overkill, but I want to have a very smooth mesh for the 3D print. Okay, now I need to begin looking at what is and what isn't solid. Let's turn off, let's hit 1 on this. Let's hit 1 on everything. So this needs to be smooth as well. Mesh, edit, mesh, smooth, apply, close that out as well. Now these eyes are just floating here. That's not going to work with my 3D print. So I do need to be careful with that. I need to think about how I'm going to handle this. Now I could try to thicken this element itself. I could have the eyes sitting on top. So if I hide this, I could attempt to grab the bottom of one of these eyes. And because it is a sphere, if I'm correct, I can have it push into the bottom and then have it sort of build off that base as it prints. So let me look at this from the front view actually. And let's grab, I don't know, I do want to make this work. So I'm going to grab all these elements. This might be a tiny bit overkill, but I definitely want this to succeed when I print it out. That's all good. So let's do an extrusion then, and we're going to do it straight down. So bam, right there. Let's, whoops, soft selection's still on. Let's flatten that out. Move it to the top of this object. And that is pretty thick, but it's going to provide a very strong base for when I am printing. I do need to make a couple changes here. This is going to need to move in, as well as all of these points. And really, I should probably push this into the cupcake itself so that when the slicer goes through it, the Cura slicer, it's going to properly merge these two areas together instead of keeping them as distinct elements, which is a no-no. Let's go ahead and grab all this. I am going to push it in. This gives me a good idea, though, about where I have problem areas, like right there, and, of course, right there, and moving that in as well. Okay, so now I have this, but now I need to actually do a proper mirror because the geometry is a little bit different. So let's go ahead and go to Edit Mesh. Let's do, ooh, it looks like they're overlapping, doesn't it? So let's delete that one, Control D this one, and instead I'm going to do a scale of -x, and I'm going to negate this value here, and that should put both of them in the correct place. Perfect. Let's go ahead now and display show all and save. Now the next part of the problem is the fact that this top bit is just kind of floating there. It's not part of the print. And the issue here is, oh boy, I would need support to make this work. And do I want to print this as a separate object in and of itself, or cut it in half and print the two separate sections? So first, of course, I would end up printing this as the eyes, display show all, and then after that, I would cut this in half, print the two shell segments coming back together, and then print the candle separately as well, and then just glue the two elements as one. Going to have to think about this. Probably going to give the eyes and the cupcake a quick print to make sure that they come out properly. I just need to figure out how this shroud is going to properly print with everything I'm doing right now. And also, the candle itself doesn't matter so much. You could just stick it on top and glue it there, or I could duplicate. Let's combine these two elements. Actually, let's sync this element into that element slightly. Save. Grab these two elements. Grab that element. Grab this one. Grab that one. Do a actually duplicate that element. Grab this one. Grab that one. Go to Mesh, and let's do a Boolean and do a difference operation on it. This is going to take a little bit of time, but now that I did that, if I hide this, I have this nice little groove on the top. And if I grab all the faces in this groove really quick, this one and that one and this one, and frame up really quick, unfortunately I probably selected some things on the bottom side, which I did. You can see them right there. So if I'm very careful, I can unselect those ones, but I can now push. I have more selected as well. There we are. But now I can kind of push this on down right about there, and now I have that little groove for the candle to sit in, and then I can glue it all in there. All right, edit, delete all by type. I'm going to save this again, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you saw something interesting. I have no idea why I decided to print this thing, but hey, it should be interesting and make for a good print, and I'll update you all in the future. So long.